The decade is coming to an end, and today I'm going to share with you guys what I think are the best animated films of the decade. Hey everybody, my name is Justin. I love to watch movies. If you guys love to watch movies too, you guys are in the right spot. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Click that bell notification for more up and coming videos. Today I'm going to share with you guys my top 10 best animated films of the decade. This was a great decade for animated films, from Pixar to Disney to DreamWorks. There were so many great animated films for this year. Before we do get into the top 10 list, I do have some honorable mentions films that I thought were really good but just did not crack the top 10. Honorable mentions include How to Train Your Dragon 2, Your Name, and Frozen. Make sure to leave your list down below. What do you think are the 10 best animated films of this decade? So let's get this started with number 10, Big Hero 6. Big Hero 6 is such a fun film. It's got a lot of great action, an adorable character with Baymax, and a really good relationship in this film. This movie also touches upon realistic feelings that this young boy who just lost his brother and is dealing with that loss, and he builds this relationship with Baymax and all of his friends, and they all kind of become superheroes. I think this was a fresh film for Disney animated films. It offered a lot of different things that I enjoyed. It was funny, it was action-packed, and is a really enjoyable film. Coming in number 9 is Tangled. Tangled was a film that surprised me. I really didn't expect much from it. I rented it from the library, and I fell in love with it immediately. The songs in it are beautiful. The animation looks great. There's a lot of great side characters in here, like Maximus the horse. And then you have the little chameleon, who's adorable as well. Zachary Levi as Flynn Rider is absolutely hilarious. He's witty. It's a movie that I enjoyed watching, and it ends on a really good note, and it's such a heartwarming film. Coming at number 8 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. When I heard that they were going to make an animated Spider-Man film, I really didn't know what to think about that, because I've fallen in love with the different live-action Spider-Man movies. And so we were going to have an animated film. I was like, is it going to be as good as some of the other ones? It's really good. It's a good film. And I like that there's so many different Spider-Man characters in this movie, but it focuses on Miles Morales and Peter Parker. And both of them are really good in this movie. I like Peter Parker, the version that we got in the Spider-Verse. He is dealing with a lot in his life. He is down on his luck. He is not the Peter Parker that we know. And that just adds a realistic touch to the character. And Miles Morales embodies everything that I love about Spider-Man. That determination to want to be Spider-Man and help out is there. And he still has to learn a lot, which is Peter Parker. So I think this movie looks great. It's got a unique style of animation. It really pops. It's bright. It's colorful. There's all these little different side things going on within the animation that works in this movie. It's a movie that's funny. It's emotional. It's action-packed. It's everything you would expect from a live-action Spider-Man film, but in an animated form. Coming at number 7 is Moana. Moana is such a sweet Disney film, and I really like the voice cast in here, and I like the characters. Moana is a character that a lot of people love, and she is a perfect role model for a lot of young girls. When Moana was released, Moana character was huge, just like Elsa in Frozen. But Maui in the movie provides a lot of that humor, while Moana provides a lot of that great story. And I really like seeing them together. The music in here is great as well. The song by Maui towards the middle part of the film is really catchy. And the animation is just beautiful. There's a lot to deal with within the ocean, so you get a lot of that in the movie, and it definitely does work. Coming at number 6 is How to Train Your Dragon 3. This was a perfect way to end this trilogy, and having Hiccup and Toothless do their own separate thing really could have just made this movie really bad. Usually when you have a movie like that and it's so well loved and you kind of just separate them, you want them back together. But Hiccup and Toothless doing their own kind of thing made the characters even stronger, and you just love them even more. And when they do get together, you fall in love with them all again. It is an appropriate approach to the end of the trilogy and having it still be well loved, but also knowing that things are about to change and we need to acknowledge that. Coming at number 5 is Inside Out. Inside Out is such a unique Disney Pixar film. It is one of their more creative films. It's really funny, and you have all these different characters that kind of work your brain and your feelings and all your emotions inside of you. And seeing how they're working the humans, it's so fun to see how the humans react to different things when the emotions are controlling the humans. It's so fun to see that structure in this movie. You have a great voice cast. Amy Poehler, Mindy Kaling, Bill Hader is in the movie. All of them do a great job within their role because their characters require something very specific. There's also Bing Bong in the movie that made me cry. I'm gonna be honest, it was just such a sad moment. But Inside Out is such a unique, creative film, and it really runs with its uniqueness in the movie, filled that with great animation, a lot of humor, a lot of heart. It is one of Pixar's best films. Coming at number 4 is The Wind Rises. This was the last film that is directed by Hayao Miyazaki, and it is such a heartbreaking film. This is one of the more mature animated films that we will get on this list. Compare that with Your Name as well. But The Wind Rises is such a devastating film. I think Miyazaki's approach in this movie was true and genuine, and you felt that love from this guy who is experiencing a lot. He loves planes just like Miyazaki does. He has this similar theme throughout his movies with aircraft, but his wife is dying as well. And it's such a heartbreaking story. It's one that is truly emotional throughout, but it's so swift with its animation, the way that the film looks, and the themes that it touches upon in this movie. It's all very well done, and one of my favorite films from Miyazaki. Coming at number 3 is The Adventures of Tintin. This isn't going to be on many people's lists, but I really enjoy The Adventures of Tintin. Not only do I love this adventure film, I also love reading the comics, The Adventures of Tintin. He's such a fun character, and it's a movie that feels like Indiana Jones at times. It has a real sense of adventure within this movie and a great mystery of finding lost artifacts. And Tintin is such a fun character. He loves a journey, he loves an adventure, he loves finding things, and you could definitely feel that within this movie. It's a lot of fun, there's a lot of humor in the movie, a lot of great action sequences. This animated movie had a lot of motion capturing within it, and it all looks really great. This is a movie that I saw in theaters when it was released, and some of the Regal theaters do that $1 movie express where you can see a movie over the summer for $1 and they play like previous movies. So they played Tintin at one point, and I went to see that again. And it's a movie that I could watch over and over again. It's so fun. It's one of my favorite animated films. It says at number 3. I just love the character. I love the story. I love the adventure feel for it. It's such a fun movie. Coming at number 2 is How to Train Your Dragon. I wasn't expecting too much from this film. It's DreamWorks. A lot of hit and misses for their company. But I left work one day. My mother picked me up. We went and saw How to Train Your Dragon in theaters, and I was blown away by this film. I really love Toothless. He's such a cute character and has become one of the more well-known animated characters of all time. And his relationship with Hiccup, and watching Hiccup try to explain to his town that this dragon is not here to attack anybody because they believe that dragons will kill them, so they have to protect themselves from dragons. Watching them come into an understanding with each other and building a relationship, and watching it try to affect the town as well, all works. And watching that journey of this town kind of understanding a little more about dragons is something really sweet, kind of accepting them into their town. So I thought that story worked really well. The relationship between Hiccup and Toothless works in the movie as well. The animation is great. It's a lot of fun, unique characters. It definitely has stood the test of time. It's not that old of a movie, but it is easily one of the best animated films of this decade. But coming at number 1 is Toy Story 3. This is an easy choice for me. Not only is Toy Story 3 one of my all-time favorite animated films, it is also one of my favorite films from this decade. I'll be honest, I cried twice in this movie. Once where they're going down into the incinerator and they just kind of accept their fate, and 2 at the end when Andy gives all his toys to Bonnie. I cried both times. I am not afraid to admit it. I cried. This movie also has a lot for Woody to do. He wants to be with Andy, but he is not accepting the fact that Andy is older. He doesn't want to play with his toys, so he has to kind of convince Buzz and Jesse and everybody else to not be at this daycare, but come with him and just sit in the attic if that's where Andy wants him. So that struggle that Woody is dealing with is really heartbreaking. You can tell that he absolutely loves being with Andy, but he has to kind of come to terms with different things. It's a realistic story, and it's crazy that it's told from the point of view of a toy. It's so odd to me that we got a movie about toys that is so emotional and so heartbreaking and so devastating, but also so sweet and so fun and such a good movie. I skipped graduation parties to go see this movie in theaters, and I don't regret that at all. It's one of the best theater experiences for me, and I absolutely love Toy Story 3. I don't love Toy Story 4 as so much. I think they should have ended it at that movie, but that's another conversation. But Toy Story 3 is my favorite animated film of the decade. So what is your favorite animated films of this decade? Make sure to leave your comments down below. What are some honorable mentions as well? Make sure to leave your list down below. And make sure to stay tuned for more best of the decade lists. I got action films, comedies, romance films, as well as best films of the decade. My name is JustinWatchesMovies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.